In the quaint town of Maplewood, Halloween was always a special occasion. The streets, lined with maple and oak trees, were aglow with jack-o'-lanterns and festooned with cobwebs and ghoulish decorations. Children, buzzing with excitement, were putting on their most elaborate costumes yet, pirates with eye patches, witches with pointed hats, and tiny astronauts with shiny, foil suits. Parents were busy adjusting masks and ensuring safety in their costumes, all the while preparing for the traditional evening of trick-or-treating that awaited. As dusk settled, a peculiar unease tinged the air, different from the usual spooky thrill of Halloween night. Eyes turned skyward when the stars seemed to blur, and the moon's glow dimmed by a sudden, unexplained phenomenon. A massive, shimmering object, disc-shaped and enigmatic, pierced the night sky, descending with a silent grace that belied its enormous size. It hovered above the town's central park, a place usually bustling with festive gatherings but now the stage for an unprecedented event. The vessel was unlike anything the residents of Maplewood had ever seen, with surfaces that reflected the moonlight in eerie, distorted echoes and lights that pulsed rhythmically, casting an otherworldly glow. It was vast, almost covering the park's expansive area, and it floated just above the treetops, causing the autumn leaves to swirl in gentle eddies beneath it. As the townsfolk gathered, costumes forgotten, a mixture of fear and wonder spread among them. Children clutched their candy bags closer, and parents exchanged nervous glances, unsure whether to retreat or stay. The local police, led by Sheriff Reynolds, a stout man known for his unflappable nature, arrived at the scene, his voice booming through a megaphone, trying to impose some order among the growing crowd. "Stay calm, everyone. Please, let's keep back and give them space," Sheriff Reynolds directed, his own curiosity piqued as he tried to maintain a perimeter around the park. Then, with a hiss and a soft whir, a section of the alien craft opened, unfolding like the petals of a metal flower. A ramp descended towards the ground, and from this luminous aperture, the visitors emerged. They were tall and slender, their skin a shimmering silver that seemed to absorb the light around them. Their eyes, large and luminescent, gave nothing away of their emotions but reflected a serene intelligence. The aliens stepped forward, and the crowd instinctively stepped back. The visitors paused, seemingly taking in their surroundings and the sea of costumed humans before them. Their arrival, though silent and gentle, had shifted the very essence of what was supposed to be a carefree night of fun and sweets. On this Halloween night in Maplewood, beneath the gaze of the cosmos, the stage was set for a first contact that would forever change the town and its people, intertwining their destiny with the stars above. As the alien beings stepped gracefully onto the soft grass of Maplewood Central Park, the air thrummed with an electric tension. Children in ghostly sheets and superhero capes peered curiously from behind their parents, their fear momentarily forgotten in the face of such awe-inspiring visitors. The aliens' towering forms were encased in sleek, silver suits that seemed to ripple with each movement, reflecting the flickering lights from the jack-o'-lanterns and street lamps. The aliens paused, their large, glowing eyes scanning the crowd. They seemed to be taking in the array of costumes, their heads tilting slightly as if puzzled. It was clear they were trying to make sense of the scene before them, pirates brandishing foam swords, witches cackling in high-pitched tones, and vampires with cloaks dramatically fluttering. To the visitors, it must have appeared as if they had landed in a gathering of Earth's most peculiar beings. Among the crowd, 8-year-old Mia, dressed as an astronaut complete with a homemade jetpack, tugged at her father's hand. Her face, usually hidden behind a visor, was exposed as she had pushed it up to better gaze at the newcomers. With a child's fearless curiosity, she whispered loudly enough for those nearby to hear, "Daddy, they look friendly. Can I say hello?" Before her father could respond, Mia broke free from his grasp and stepped forward, her small feet crunching on the autumn leaves. The crowd parted slightly, holding their breath as the little astronaut approached the visitors. Her boldness seemed to encourage the aliens, their posture relaxed, a universal body language that resonated with the onlookers. One of the aliens knelt down to Mia's level, its movements smooth and deliberate. From a compartment on its suit, the alien produced a small, glowing orb and presented it to Mia. In return, Mia, understanding this to be some sort of greeting or exchange, reached into her candy bag and pulled out a handful of wrapped chocolates, offering them up with both hands. The alien accepted the candy, turning it over in its hands with a fascination that seemed as childlike as Mia's own curiosity. This exchange, simple yet profound, broke the initial barrier of fear. Murmurs of astonishment and whispers of excitement rippled through the crowd. Cameras flashed, capturing what was undoubtedly the first interstellar trade of Halloween candy for an alien artifact. Seeing Mia's successful interaction, other children began to edge forward, encouraged by their parents to engage with the visitors. Each child offered something from their treat bags, receiving in exchange small, innocuous gadgets or luminescent trinkets that floated above their palms, twirling gently before settling. The atmosphere shifted palpably from one of uncertainty to one of wonder and amusement. The aliens, now surrounded by miniature goblins and fairies offering sweets, seemed to understand the playful nature of the evening. Their initial confusion about the bizarre gathering of costumed earthlings turned into a participation in the Halloween spirit. Back at the edge of the crowd, Sheriff Reynolds spoke into his radio, his voice a mixture of bewilderment and awe. "Central, you're not going to believe this, but I think we're actually trick-or-treating with aliens." In Maplewood, what started as a night of traditional Halloween festivities had transformed into an extraordinary event of interstellar friendship and cultural exchange. The visitors from beyond the stars had not only entered a new world but had stumbled upon one of its most enchanting traditions. As the novelty of the initial exchange settled, both the aliens and the residents of Maplewood began to explore deeper communication. The town's Central Park, bathed in the eerie glow of the spacecraft and the soft light of the moon, transformed into an impromptu forum for one of the most significant interactions in human history. Sheriff Reynolds, taking charge of the situation, approached the visitors with a mix of caution and intrigue. Beside him was Dr. Linda Harris, a linguistics professor from the local university, who had been at a faculty Halloween party when the news of the arrival spread. Dressed as Cleopatra, complete with a golden headdress and a flowing robe, she now found herself at the forefront of attempting to decode an alien language. "Let's start with the basics," Dr. Harris suggested, her academic curiosity piqued. She turned to a large whiteboard that someone had fetched from the nearby school. With a marker in hand, she drew a simple picture of the Earth and pointed to it, saying clearly, "Earth." One of the aliens, tall and slender with a shimmering aura, stepped forward. It touched a panel on its suit, and a similar image of a planet appeared in the air, holographically projected, but with distinct rings and multiple moons. It pointed to the image and emitted a series of melodic tones, which the crowd assumed to be their word for their home. Encouraged by this mutual understanding, Dr. Harris continued, using simple pictures and words to bridge the gap between languages. She pointed to herself and said, "Human." In response, the alien touched its chest and projected another series of harmonic tones, followed by an image of its species, a variety of shapes and forms much like a family portrait but with celestial bodies in the background. Children, ever the curious ambassadors, played a significant role in this exchange. They showed the aliens their toys and explained them through demonstration. A young boy with a toy airplane made flying motions, which the aliens mimicked with a miniature replica of their ship, showing it hovering and moving through the air. As this rudimentary dialogue unfolded, the gathering crowd was mesmerized. Every successful communication was met with applause and wonder. The interactions grew more complex as the aliens began to use their technology to create real-time translations of their tones into English words, displayed in text floating in the air. One particularly poignant moment occurred when a girl in a ghost costume mimed being scared as part of her act. The aliens, observing this, projected an image of various alien creatures, each showing a different emotional expression. It was their way of demonstrating understanding of human emotions, a universal language of sorts. By the end of the evening, a foundation for communication had been established. Not only had the aliens and humans exchanged greetings and names for their respective species, but they had also shared a glimpse into their cultures and emotional expressions. The park, once a place for leisurely strolls and children's games, had become the ground zero of interstellar diplomacy and understanding. The night air was thick with the promise of new beginnings as the people of Maplewood looked up at the stars, now more than ever aware of the vast and friendly cosmos that awaited their exploration. The once fearful whispers turned into excited chatter about the possibilities this first contact might bring. As the first threads of understanding were woven between the townspeople of Maplewood and their extraterrestrial visitors, the children led the way to a more familiar tradition, trick-or-treating. Energized by the successful exchanges of the night and driven by a universal childlike enthusiasm, they beckoned the aliens to follow them on their candy-collecting journey around the neighborhood. The visitors, curious about this quaint human custom, observed as groups of costumed children approached houses, rang doorbells, and cheerfully shouted, "Trick or treat." Homeowners, already abuzz with news of the night's extraordinary visitors, were thrilled to find themselves handing out candy to both Earth children and alien beings. The aliens were quick learners. Mimicking the children, they began to utter a melodious approximation of trick or treat that charmed everyone. Seeing the joyous interaction, one of the alien visitors used its technology to produce small, intricately designed gadgets resembling the toys and trinkets of Earth, but with a distinctly alien twist. These gadgets, which emitted gentle, pulsing lights and soft harmonic tones, became the aliens' way of participating in the tradition. In exchange, they received handfuls of candy, which they examined with great interest, scanning each piece with a small device before storing them in compartments on their suits. The scene was surreal, a fusion of Maplewood's Halloween customs with intergalactic diplomacy. Neighbors came out of their homes, smartphones in hand, capturing moments of laughter and shared wonder. Children took turns showing the aliens how to knock on doors and accept treats, and the visitors, in turn, delighted everyone by projecting thank you messages and shimmering, holographic text above their heads. At one particularly festive house, decked out with animatronic ghosts and witches, an alien hesitated at the sight of a mechanical ghoul that lunged forward with eerie sounds. A young girl, dressed as a fairy, noticed the visitor's apprehension and took its hand, explaining, "It's just pretend, see?" She pressed a button to deactivate the ghoul, showing the alien it was harmless. The alien, understanding the concept of make-believe, responded by projecting a holographic ghost of its own design, causing delighted shrieks from the crowd. As the night progressed, the aliens began to replicate the children's actions more accurately, even attempting to distribute some of their gadgets to the adults who accompanied the trick-or-treaters. The adults, in turn, were fascinated by the technology and gracious in their acceptance of these otherworldly gifts. Throughout the evening, as they moved from house to house under the watchful eyes of Sheriff Reynolds and Dr. Harris, a remarkable transformation occurred. What started as a cautious interaction between two vastly different species evolved into a warm, festive celebration. The residents of Maplewood, initially bewildered by the arrival of an alien spacecraft, now found themselves hosts to the most extraordinary Halloween in human history. As the night drew to a close, and the bags of candy grew heavy, the community and their guests gathered back at the park, under the light of the alien ship. The atmosphere was no longer one of uncertainty but of jubilation and newfound friendships, marked by an exchange of earthly treats and cosmic wonders. As the festivities reached their peak, with laughter and the shared joy of newfound friendships echoing through Maplewood Park, the scene was suddenly disrupted by the arrival of a stern-looking man in a black suit. He was flanked by several agents, all wearing similar attire and serious expressions. The sudden shift in the atmosphere was palpable. The friendly chatter and laughter dimmed as the group approached Sheriff Reynolds and the gathering crowd. The man, introducing himself as Agent Carlisle from the National Security Agency, displayed his badge authoritatively. He spoke with a firm, commanding voice, "This area is now under federal jurisdiction. We are taking over the situation. I need everyone to step back and allow us to secure these visitors." His words, meant to assert control, instead sparked a protective instinct among the townspeople. Parents pulled their children closer, and murmurs of disapproval spread through the crowd. The children, who had just shared a magical evening with the aliens, looked bewildered and scared at the sudden change in tone. Sheriff Reynolds, known for his steady leadership, stepped forward, placing himself between Agent Carlisle and the aliens. "Now hold on, Agent," he said, his voice calm but firm. "These folks have been nothing but peaceful. We've had a wonderful evening sharing our traditions with them. There's no need for this to get confrontational. Dr. Harris, still in her Cleopatra costume, joined in, her academic curiosity now mixed with a sense of duty to protect the bridge of understanding they had all built. Agent Carlyle, we have established a preliminary form of communication and mutual respect. Any aggressive action now could undo all the progress we've made tonight. Agent Carlyle looked around at the assembled crowd, his gaze lingering on the children clutching their bags of candy and the glowing gadgets they had received from the aliens. He seemed to be weighing his options, under the scrutiny of the town's united front. A young boy, dressed as a superhero, stepped forward, tugging at the agent's coat. "They're our friends. They gave us these cool lights and didn't take too much candy," he said earnestly, holding up a small, pulsing alien device for the agent to see. The standoff was interrupted by a serene melody emanating from one of the aliens, who stepped forward with a graceful, almost diplomatic air. Using their holographic technology, they projected images of the evening's events, children laughing, aliens and humans exchanging gifts, and the overall harmony that had characterized the interaction. Moved by the display and the palpable bond that had formed, Agent Carlyle's demeanor softened. "All right," he conceded, "let's keep this peaceful. We'll observe and ensure safety, but we won't interfere without cause." He signaled his agents to lower their stance, and the tension gradually eased. The crowd breathed a collective sigh of relief. Parents thanked the sheriff and Dr. Harris, and the children resumed their playful interactions with the aliens. The night, once threatened by fear and authority, returned to its state of festive joy and wonder. As the federal agents observed, they too became participants in the exchange, accepting alien-made trinkets and offering in return their standard-issue pens and notepads, earthly items that fascinated their interstellar guests. The incident with Agent Carlyle turned into another chapter of the night's extraordinary events, a testament to the power of community and the universal desire for peace and understanding. With the situation diffused and Agent Carlyle's team blending into the background, the atmosphere in Maplewood Park returned to one of celebration. The aliens, sensing the renewed sense of safety and community, initiated the next phase of their earthly visit, something they had planned as a gift to the people of Maplewood. One of the alien visitors, who had been particularly interactive with the children, gestured for everyone's attention and then pointed towards the sky. The crowd's chatter quieted as all eyes turned upward, expectant but unsure of what was to come next. Without warning, the night sky was transformed into a spectacular display of cosmic art. The alien ship, which had been a silent, ominous presence above, now acted as a projector, casting vivid holograms into the heavens. The display started with simple patterns, geometric shapes and swirls of color that danced across the canvas of the night. Then, the visuals grew more complex and narrative. The aliens shared a visual story of their journey to Earth, depicted through a series of breathtaking images, their home planet surrounded by its distinctive rings, the vastness of space they had traversed, and the many celestial phenomena they encountered along the way. Each scene was accompanied by subtle, melodic tones, adding an almost dreamlike quality to the experience. Children squealed with delight, and adults watched in awe as comets with shimmering tails soared overhead, and nebulas expanded in bursts of color. It was as if the heavens themselves were alive with the story of these distant travelers. The aliens seemed to take pride in their ability to share their journey, and their technology allowed them to do so in a way that was universally understandable and utterly captivating. As the story progressed, the display shifted to mirror the current interaction on Earth. Images of Halloween festivities from around the globe appeared, showing the aliens' understanding and appreciation of human culture. The visuals transitioned into a beautiful, artistic blend of earthly traditions and alien landscapes, symbolizing the unity and connection that could exist between the two species. The grand finale of the light show was a breathtaking image of Earth from space, enveloped in a peaceful aura. This was overlaid with heartwarming scenes from the night's earlier events, children laughing with the aliens, gifts being exchanged, and the community coming together in celebration. Once the display concluded, a deep, respectful silence hung over the park, broken finally by a spontaneous eruption of applause and cheers. The residents of Maplewood, moved by the profound experience, felt a deepened bond not just with the visitors from the stars, but with each other and the universe itself. The aliens, observing the reactions, seemed satisfied that their message of peace and friendship had been well received. Their leader, or at least the one who had been most forward in the interactions, approached Sheriff Reynolds and Dr. Harris, offering a formal nod, a gesture they had learned as a sign of respect during the evening. This light show not only marked the climax of an unforgettable Halloween but also solidified a feeling of wonder and optimism among the townspeople. They had been given a glimpse into the vastness of the cosmos, and they felt a renewed appreciation for the wonder of there. After the mesmerizing light show concluded, a sense of unity and awe filled the air around Maplewood Park. The townspeople and their alien visitors mingled under the starry sky, their earlier interactions now deepened by the shared experience of the cosmic display. It was clear that this Halloween night had transcended its usual festivities and had turned into a momentous occasion in the history of human-alien interaction. Dr. Linda Harris, utilizing the communication tools that had been hastily assembled earlier in the evening, took the opportunity to deepen the dialogue with the aliens. With the help of a few volunteers from the local university's astronomy club, she set up an impromptu outdoor classroom right there in the park. Curious townspeople of all ages gathered around as the aliens began to share more about their technology and knowledge, using their holographic tools to project images and diagrams into the night. One alien, whom the children had nicknamed Sparkle due to its suit that shimmered under the moonlight, demonstrated a device that could manipulate gravitational fields. This explanation was accompanied by a live demonstration where small objects, leaves, rocks, and even a pumpkin, floated gently around the device, much to the delight and astonishment of the crowd. Another alien showcased a method of harnessing energy from stars, which could potentially offer solutions to Earth's energy crises. The holograms detailed complex engineering concepts in simple visual forms, making the information surprisingly accessible. Dr. Harris, along with some local scientists who had joined the crowd, engaged in a lively discussion about the possibilities of such technology and its implications for sustainable energy on Earth. As the night deepened, the atmosphere became one of a large family gathering, where stories and knowledge were shared beside the warmth of a communal fire. Children sat wide-eyed, listening intently, while adults discussed the implications of the night's events. The barriers between the townspeople and the visitors seemed to dissolve completely as they exchanged ideas and dreamed together of the future. A particularly touching moment came when a young girl shared her telescope with an alien. Together, they looked at the moon, and then the alien adjusted the telescope slightly, pointing it towards a distant star. Using a portable device, the alien projected an image next to the star's view, showing it was their home system. The realization that the aliens had shared not just their technology but also a glimpse of their home touched everyone deeply, reinforcing the notion that despite the vastness of space separating them, there were common threads binding all sentient beings. As midnight approached, the community and their visitors gathered in a large circle, holding hands in a moment of silent gratitude and reflection. This circle symbolized the unity and peace that had been achieved, not through grand gestures of diplomacy, but through simple acts of sharing and understanding. This profound night concluded with the promise of more interactions and visits. The aliens, before preparing to depart, assured the people of Maplewood that they would return, hinting at a future filled with further exchanges and explorations. They left behind some of their gadgets as gifts and tokens of their visit, which the town decided to place in the local museum as artifacts of this extraordinary Halloween encounter. The residents of Maplewood, as they slowly dispersed to their homes, felt a renewed sense of wonder and responsibility. They had been thrust into the forefront of interspecies communication, a role they accepted with pride and optimism. As the alien ship silently ascended into the night sky, the echoes of its departure were felt not as a goodbye, but as a promise of what was to come. As the early hours of November dawned, the alien visitors prepared for their departure, signaling the end of a Halloween that Maplewood would remember for generations. The park, still bustling with activity despite the late hour, was filled with a mix of excitement and melancholy as townspeople of all ages came to bid farewell to their new friends. Sheriff Reynolds and Dr. Harris coordinated with the townspeople to organize a farewell that mirrored the warmth and community spirit shown throughout the night. Children, who had formed remarkable bonds with the visitors, crafted handmade gifts, drawings of the night's events, friendship bracelets, and even small models of the alien ship made from cardboard and glitter. The aliens, in turn, prepared their own set of parting gifts. They distributed small, advanced technology devices that were capable of storing vast amounts of information digitally, a gift aimed at enhancing the educational resources of Maplewood schools. Each device was preloaded with extensive data about the universe, as understood from the alien perspective, including star maps, astrophysical phenomena, and elements of their own cultural heritage. Before the departure, the aliens and the townspeople gathered for one final group photo, an image that would soon be shared globally, symbolizing a successful peaceful contact. Sparkle, the alien who had become particularly popular among the children, kneeled down to be at eye level with the kids for the photo, its luminescent eyes soft and friendly. As the aliens boarded their ship, a hush fell over the crowd. The ramp retracted, and the craft's lights began to pulsate gently, preparing for liftoff. Dr. Harris, addressing the crowd and the departing ship, spoke heartfelt words through the translation devices that had been set up around the park. Tonight, we've shared more than just our cultures and candies, we've taken a giant leap towards understanding and friendship across the stars. Safe travels, our friends, until we meet again. The ship lifted off smoothly, with no noise or turbulence, just a soft glow illuminating the park below. As it ascended, the visitors activated one final display, a spectacular light show, not in the sky this time, but radiating from the ship itself, casting a gentle, warm light over the crowd. It was as if the aliens were reciprocating the warmth and light of the town that had welcomed them so openly. Children waved vigorously, some shouting their goodbyes, while parents captured the moment on their phones, knowing this was a historic event. The light from the ship faded gradually as it reached the upper atmosphere, finally becoming indistinguishable from the stars above. The emotional farewell left many in the crowd teary-eyed, but also filled with a new sense of purpose and hope. Discussions began almost immediately about what the future might hold, with people speculating about further visits, potential technological advancements, and the broader implications for humanity's place in the cosmos. As the last of the lights disappeared, the people of Maplewood slowly dispersed, each carrying with them a story that would be told and retold in many forms, through local news, social media, and, most enduringly, in the family histories of those who had been there. Maplewood, a small town that had once been just another pin on the map, was now a landmark on the interstellar map, a beacon of human-alien friendship and curiosity. The morning after the aliens' departure, Maplewood woke not just to a new day, but to a new reality. The small town, which had always prided itself on its community spirit and annual Halloween festivities, found itself thrust into the global spotlight overnight. Every major news outlet around the world wanted a piece of the story, and the video footage of the spacecraft, the aliens, and their interactions with the townspeople were broadcast repeatedly across all platforms. Reporters and media crews descended on Maplewood, their vans and equipment filling the streets that had, just hours earlier, been a stage for extraterrestrial diplomacy. They interviewed everyone, from Sheriff Reynolds and Dr. Harris to the children who had interacted most closely with the visitors. Each account added layers to the story of a peaceful and curious first contact, transforming Maplewood from a quaint suburb into the epicenter of the most significant event in human history. Dr. Harris, with her expertise in linguistics and now a first-hand experience in interspecies communication, became a particularly sought-after figure. Universities and scientific institutions invited her to speak, eager to learn about the techniques used for communicating with the aliens and the potential for future exchanges. Her insights provided a foundation for what could eventually become a standard protocol in dealing with extraterrestrial encounters. The local school where the children attended became another focal point. Educators incorporated the event into their curricula, using the alien technology gifts as teaching tools. Students engaged in projects and presentations that explored themes of space travel, alien cultures, and the science behind the gadgets they had received. The school established an annual First Contact Day to commemorate the event, promoting science and cultural exchange activities. Social media buzzed with hashtags like #MaplewoodFirstContact and #HalloweenAliens, with people from around the world sharing their thoughts, artwork, and even conspiracy theories about the event. This global conversation sparked interest in space programs and the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, leading to increased funding and public support for these initiatives. Meanwhile, government officials and international diplomats grappled with the implications of the encounter. Conferences and symposiums were organized to discuss the potential for future interactions and the need for a unified global response to any further alien visits. Maplewood's experience provided valuable lessons on the importance of peaceful and open communication in such scenarios. The town itself adapted to its newfound fame. Local businesses thrived, offering alien-themed merchandise and experiences, and the park where the ship had landed became a tourist attraction, complete with a visitor center and guided tours explaining the events of that Halloween night. As the initial frenzy of media attention eventually stabilized, the residents of Maplewood found themselves guardians of a unique legacy. They became advocates for curiosity, tolerance, and the hopeful pursuit of knowledge across cosmic distances. Maplewood was no longer just another small town, it was a symbol of humanity's potential to peacefully engage with the unknown. As the dust settled from the media frenzy and the world began to digest the reality of extraterrestrial contact, Maplewood found itself at the heart of a new era. The excitement of that unforgettable Halloween night evolved into a sustained engagement with broader scientific and cultural discussions about humanity's place in the universe. The town's officials, in collaboration with academic institutions and scientific organizations, established the Maplewood Center for Intergalactic Studies, a state-of-the-art facility designed to analyze the alien technology left behind and to prepare for future contacts. Dr. Linda Harris took a leading role at the center, leveraging her experience to help pioneer a new interdisciplinary field combining xenolinguistics, astrophysics, and intercultural relations. The center also hosted international forums, where experts from around the globe gathered to share knowledge and strategize about future interstellar diplomacy. These forums were not just academic, they were a confluence of cultural narratives and scientific exploration, reflecting a humanity more united in its curiosity and quest for knowledge than ever before. Meanwhile, the younger residents of Maplewood, who had first-hand interactions with the aliens, found themselves inspired toward careers in science, engineering, and diplomacy. The local schools expanded their curricula to include more advanced science courses, extraterrestrial biology, and astrophysics, funded generously by grants and donations motivated by the events of the encounter. On the global stage, the implications of the Maplewood contact spurred changes in international policies regarding space exploration and extraterrestrial contact protocols. The United Nations established a new department, the Office for Extraterrestrial Affairs, with a charter inspired by the peaceful and mutually beneficial interactions observed in Maplewood. The annual First Contact Day celebrated in Maplewood became recognized worldwide, a day dedicated not only to remembering the events that took place but also to fostering discussions about the ethical, philosophical, and technical aspects of communicating with other intelligent life forms. Each year, the celebrations were marked by public lectures, community activities, and a nighttime festival in Maplewood Park, where the spaceship first landed. Back in Maplewood, the community remained a tight-knit group, forever changed but grounded in their shared experience. They maintained the park as a communal space, with a monument at the landing site inscribed with names of those present during the first contact. The monument became a symbol of hope and bravery, surrounded by plaques with messages of peace and cooperation from people all over the world. As the anniversary of the first contact approached, the town planned a special celebration to unveil a new interactive exhibit at the visitor center, featuring virtual reality experiences of the aliens' home planet, based on the data shared during their visit. This attraction was not only a draw for tourists but also an educational tool, giving visitors a glimpse of the wonders that might lie beyond their own world. Maplewood's experience had turned a page in the annals of human history, marking the beginning of a new chapter in which Earth was not isolated but part of a larger cosmic community. The town's story was a testament to the enduring human spirit, curious, resilient, and ever hopeful in the pursuit of the unknown.